We'll be back from the break. You're still watching Smart Means Business. This is your daily Kickstarter, and we're into the 8-hour o'clock. At this hour, we start with our business tips and quotes. All right, now away from our business quote and the business tip of the morning, we now turn our focus to our social media trends. And this time round, something to do with Entebbe. Entebbe is looked at as one of those most cool areas to live in if you're in Uganda. The cool center of attraction. It attracts quite a number of business people, those who want to start up businesses, people who want to settle in family. You know, you choose Entebbe Road, it's peaceful. I hear it's the abroad picture of the central region.
Yeah. I must say, really, Entebbe is like someplace I would actually recommend someone to stay in. It has ambience, atmosphere, there's no congestion, you know. It's quite interesting to be in. The roads are actually usually free, mostly over the weekend.
It's peaceful, walk. Very peaceful in Entebbe.
Yeah, the markets, it's just interesting.
And for our viewers from Entebbe, this is what social media had to say in regards to the same area from Entebbe. What don't you know about Entebbe? Now, the Allen County says Entebbe Express Highway, drive carefully. Well, there are some incidents on the Entebbe Express Highway, by the way, in regards to either accidents late in the night, and then there was also a case of robberies. You know, people are being stoned to death. Others are being beaten up by thugs. So that is what is happening there. Then Mimi Hatz says that I don't care what y'all say, but abroad starts when you enter Entebbe. So this, you know, there was an argument regarding where is abroad. Is being in Kenya being abroad? Is being, you know, in Rwanda abroad? So this one says in Entebbe you're already abroad.
This is Noti Masi. At Noti Masi says good morning from Entebbe, the land of aeroplanes and beaches plus corruption.
That's your namesake, by the way. Giving us a full glimpse of what happens in Entebbe. It says land of aeroplanes, beaches, and corruption. But that is where the State House anti-corruption unit is. So I doubt whether it is corruption, really. And then Unmasked at Jose Pro says, but what causes all this jam on Entebbe Road, moreover, the expressway? Oh.
Now this is Sandra 809. She says installations of lights on Kampala Entebbe Express begins. The installation. Oh, sorry about that. It says Musee Bwanika. Okay. Other installation works are aimed at providing better visibility on the road and ensuring safety of the road users.
I think now the government is focusing on ensuring that the people who move late in the night at least secure. You know, vehicles that move on that road late in the night move very fast at a very high speed, you know. And when the thieves are there, it becomes difficult. At least now with the lights, you can easily know who is in front, so you can prepare yourself for any unbecoming that may come through during during your movement. So at Sandrak there with that tweet in regards to what the government is doing.
Well, Muzei Wanika, at Muzei Wanika, nearly all the wire mesh along Entebbe Express Highway have been stolen. What does this nakedness mean to our security as citizens that pay to the use of roads?
He has actually tagged UNRWA and the Uganda police. I think these are some of the case scenarios that normally happen in our, in our transportation sector. We've seen robberies on the railway line, on the meter gauge, whereby Ugandans back in the time used to steal those rails, sell them in scrap. Others put them in their toilets.
We are seeing wire meshes.
Now here people are stealing wire mesh. So you can easily see how the scrap industry continues to grow again. Because once someone steals the wire mesh, ideally if they're not taking it in welding, they are selling it off to scrap. Yeah. And to at least make it more useful and sell it for money. Again, this undermines our level of development. Is it because of the level of unemployment that has sparked off such criminal cases, or is it because Ugandans don't really mind about the beauty that comes with such roads coming up? So you can easily see some are having concerns in regards to the use of the Entebbe Express Highway and what really needs to be done to ensure that we create a better environment or conducive environment for the road users of the Entebbe Express Highway. And at the Parliament of Uganda, with the tweet yesterday that Honorable Chris Baryomunsi says that 500 million shillings on electricity caters for Entebbe State House, Nakasero State Lodge, the Vice President's residence, and 23 other upcountry state lodges. So there was that debate of the 500 million that is, not only 500 million, the money that is actually used to cater for State House in Entebbe. Yeah. Now you can easily see what Chris Baryomunsi has highlighted, that 500 million shillings annually is for electricity. Wow. Electricity on Entebbe, Nakasero, the Vice President's residence, and 23 other upcountry state lodges where President Museveni, of which there is one in Barara, there is one in Mbale, and then the rest of the others where once the president is upcountry and is going to sleep at one of these state lodges, at one of the presidential residences in there. Electricity has to be catered for. But remember, there is also people who are working from there. That is salary, food, ensuring that everything is in total control, even the security.
Yeah.
So again, that is one of the key highlights from social media in relation to Entebbe and what you should do. Because I think what makes Entebbe one of the most recognized areas, you look at the airport, it is like the first entry point for goods. Individuals who are using plane, they definitely land at Entebbe.
We have
the beaches there. Now you look at the mere fact that we have hotels as well. The hotel industry in Entebbe is quite, performing well as usual. Then you also look at the mere fact that it also houses the State House in there. So there's a lot to look at when it comes to Entebbe.
Is the best location where a person who has just entered into Uganda should start from. It gives you a whole picture
of what to expect.
You keep expecting, okay. Yeah.
And by the time you step on the expressway to head to Busega or either way Munyonyo ends, you've already had a glimpse of really what to expect from the airport and what to expect from Uganda. But now, let's get the talking started again. Andrew Berigi joins us this morning here as we look deeper in understanding the political stability and economic development of Uganda. Andrew Berigi, good morning. Thank you for joining us once again here.
Thank you, Joe. Very good morning. Hope you're great. Marcy, how are you doing?
I'm very good. It's quite a good morning. Hope you're doing well as well.
Okay. By the way, children are on the way going back to school.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how far you've gone to clear. It's been
Masa does look like she's an auntie.
Oh, yeah. Rich aunties.
yeah, of course. Even in Durham, I believe you have somebody there.
We do have nieces and nephews.
Yes, yeah. I do have nephews and nieces. No, they don't depend on me though. But I do have
when,
them.
you know, when you require
So
as an uncle.
I think the good, exactly. But I think it is a week where most of the parents, it is this stress, you know, this is a week where most parents are stressed.
Yeah.
Now with the mere fact that
true.
the week started with the university saga, some started thinking otherwise of education, but I believe Ugandan parents are resilient no matter what.
Exactly.
For those who have gone through university and school and know the importance of school, they're already pushing their students to get back. I think the only problem comes in when it comes to the personal financial constraints of an individual. More so if you have like 4 children, even if you have 2 or 1. But when the school fees is demanding, the school dues that include, let's say, the requirements, your child, you know, the upkeep and everything, you really get stressed. You have rent to pay, you know, your salary is not that much. So being a Ugandan is really another tough hustle. Also, if you know your earnings are not relating to your kind of spending, it becomes really difficult.
I must say, like, there are some schools that overrate the school requirements. You know, you get to look at the list and you are wondering, how am I supposed to cater for the 4 kids I have in the same school with the same requirements?
And at times the children have to add their own extra requirements that are not needed.
The grab and all. Then,
because they know that is how they will get some good money from you as the parent. It's really tough out there. You know, when you're still a young child, you think your parent is, you know, being stingy on the money, but they're trying to calculate. It's after you join the adulthood phase when you realize, oh, things were really not that easy. Things were tough. I didn't see it coming. No, until you're in that situation, that is when you start appreciating the efforts your parents or guardians used to put in once you're joining school. But well, we want to wish all of the parents and the guardians who are pushing their children or relatives to back to school for the second term, which kicks off this weekend for most of the schools, others Monday. And we wish you well, and may God give you all the masses to have the money that keeps you moving and to clear off those school fees.
Well, very interesting. Of course, heading to that topic, political stability versus economic development. I guess this is something which, you know, okay, the first question is, what influences the other? Because that's one of the aspects which so many people really have. It could be either way. But of course, the long-standing aspect is authority. You know, of course, they say with money, get authority. But also, you can have money, but when you don't have authority, you know, depending on the society you're operating in, if laws really are apprehended to the maximum. Now, heading to this very particular aspect, we've seen countries, of course, with the political instabilities, and well, somehow there is some sort of an effect, not only from the macro perspective, but also from the micro on the individual households. Uganda, we are okay as compared to actually other countries, despite the fact that there is still that sort of political tension, you know, in all those aspects. Because we've seen aspects where there is rivalry, you know, amongst different leaders, with different officers, you know, in government. And, you know, when you work from that perspective of, you know, I have authority, I have more authority than you do have, well, that is quite very hindering, because you get to realize that actually the more we have those political rivalries, you know, on social media, you see this, you see that, and of course some of it is fueled by media, which is okay, though it's real.
Yes.
Before you know it, we divert our eyes to the core factors, you know, and when I talk about the core factors, I mean implementing government structures which will favor citizens to operate in a country. For example, running business, you know, structures that facilitate a trade, you know, amongst the different countries. And why? Because the entire attention is always, you know, given to that whole aspect of, you know, the rivalry, trying to prove competition, you know, trying to prove authority. and its very aspect. Anyway, it can be from that particular aspect. And according to the report, we get to realize that in Uganda, negative competition, actually it says negative competition and instability interact, in this aspect. Because negative competition, we know it can be from the social aspect, it can be from the economic aspect, and it can also come in down from the political aspect. Because we've seen it still even in economic aspects. For example, looking at the monopolies, whereby due to manipulation of prices, of the different monopoly powers, they lead to economic injustices. Which at the end of the day, once the public seems to be a little bit discontented, unlike of recent when, of course, things have really been a bit calm. But if we are to look at our countries, our surrounding areas, for example, in Kenya, the aspect of, due to unfair aspects of the manipulation of a few business moguls, figures right there, and that leads to inflation, And what do we see after people are discontented? Of course, you're going to see political instability coming at the end of the day. So you get to realize either one influences the other. That's why it's very important as a citizen to have wisdom to know when you should really participate into any of those. Because they really interact with each other. Well, I think we can now take a look at how Uganda is like the standings of political stability index as we compare to other African countries to take a look, because as compared to the statistics, we are fairly scoring okay as compared to other countries. And of course, seeing Sudan being the country with the highest, the less risk. We're talking about the risk of political instability. So Sudan is the highest, has a higher risk.
I think it's also more backed by the fact that the kind of crisis they are in currently.
True. Current crisis, this overall aspect is that what really leads to this, because if you take a look at most of those countries and you weigh down their budgets, you get to realize that there is massive spending when it comes to defense, and once more resources are really put onto that means you stand a high chance of being at debt, heavily indebted as a country, because military doesn't pay. It consumes. You have to pay these people. You have to pay the intelligence agencies. You have to pay, all the police departments that are responsible for security. So in that aspect, you find that it's harder for you to then use it for economic development, because it's about political interests. So what happens before you know it, you are in reds and you can't access external funding anymore from many countries. And definitely from that perspective, economic instability is inevitable. We've seen it in Egypt, though Egypt is lately kind of stabilizing. Libya had the same issue after Gaddafi was really overthrown. Zimbabwe, I was saying Zimbabwe hasn't really had any. Okay, it's been just more of the reason why we see it in that red is accompanied with, of course, the economic crisis, which, of course, we can predict that it can lead to a tension, political tensions and instabilities. This is a report as of the year 2021, looking at the past years, looking at the country's risk of index. So this can clearly show you where you can, if you are a person that has been planning to expand, you're a CEO, and you're probably thinking of expansion plans. I mean, these are factors you should look into, most especially if you're to look beyond the borders of Uganda. Probably in most cases, the most favorable aspect is when we run towards the people that are really surrounding us, due to, of course, to save costs, labor mobility aspects, as we take a look at the different challenges that are associated with that. But of course, according to that, you get to see and realize that Uganda will fairly performing okay, according to the statistics that we observe. Yeah. It's been a while since we had a serious political tension. They happen probably in a few glimpses and here and there. before you know it, the police forces come and put the
You know, I think
the masses
normally
in order.
our kind of security tension that we have as a country comes in during the election time when Ugandans are rioting and demonstrating here and there. That is when we find ourselves in such circumstances, of which they don't even last for a week or a month.
A month, yeah.
Or it can be a week.
Actually, one
but
day,
the
in most
physical
cases.
strike is normally 1 to 2 days.
1 to 2 days.
The first day is active, the second day it's scary hours. Yeah, it's either you go in there or work or nothing. I think you realize even Kenya, which is no longer a demonstrative country.
Yes.
When they demonstrated the other time due to Baba Raila's Monday strikes, that took over for 2 weeks. That is every other Monday. It actually took like 3 times in a full month. Every Monday he was.
And remember the statement which was put out there about billions of money,
billions of Kenyan shillings that were lost just because of daily activities that were disorganized on such a day. You can easily know of what impact it has. And for countries that depend on the political stability and economic development, and saying that the atmosphere that is being created is boosted in the same, you wonder why you really need to have a stable atmosphere for any business to prevail.
It's really very instrumental. Though there are instances where we've seen countries having some sort of an instability, but they seem to be having a right progress. Okay, maybe from the bigger perspective, not looking at the household level, because if I may shift away from Uganda,
yes,
actually even Africa, we cross over. I remember some time back when Iran had during Barack Obama's regime, when Barack Obama was still president of the United States of America, there was the aspect of the nuclear weapons, and there was a point whereby they had actually commanded a military operation on the country of Iran. But the president then, who's not the president now, but then said we shall not let these Western perspectives come and come onto our freedom, and that caused some sort of tension within Iran, by the way. But despite all that, the economy within the country was still okay. It was still fine. Everything was really was moving really very okay. But those are quite rare instances in most cases, because that can be there. Some leaders have this aspect of balancing it a two-way, because that despite the fact that these tensions are in here, I need to ask myself, what is causing the tension?
Yes.
So the aspect here is, should I please people abroad, or I please my people that are within the country? Of course, that is some of those aspects are inevitable, and some of these countries being Arab, just like how we have tribes in here. We have all these the Sunni, there's so many aspects, and those divisions of course cause some sort of attention, most especially when such a crisis comes within. So those are just a few scenarios where we have some sort of instability within the country, but it might not really affect the economy of operation. If it's not really something related to probably unrest against the ruling government, the ruling central government, most cases there are these issues that are happening within, issues, one tribe having issues against the other tribe. It's also happening in South Africa, and it's been there, gun violence has been there, but the economy seems to be really, running probably very well, but it's not all related to when the focus is on overthrowing the ruling government at the moment, at the time of the being. So, well, those two cases, so that calls really for a very vigilant leader, to be in that perspective, balancing the unrest and economic growth. Though it's better to have a much more stable environment politically and also socially for you to see economic progress pave way effectively.
Well, I must say that political stability and economic development go hand in hand. Where there is an unstable political chaos, actually, the economy tends, regardless of how strong the country may be, where there is political instability, where there are riots, where there are wars, the economy somehow must, must be in chaos. So definitely for that political part, it definitely affects everything. Because imagine you are rioting, that means businesses you know, people get information and people have closed down shops that are not working that very day. So that means businesses won't run, people won't be able to access commodities, or trade may come to a standstill. So definitely those two go hand in hand in actually globally. It may not
Yeah, from the
necessarily
political
be
perspective, it can be fine, but you know, if we have these aspects of social unrest, you know, these are issues within among us people.
Yeah, small things.
It's not really that the entire aspect here. For the political aspect, it's quite very tricky, and we've seen countries that have really experienced it. They have taken decades to recover. The economy is back. You know, of course, Iraq, you know, is a good example. When Saddam Hussein was overthrown, we saw Libya till date. Of course, though it's still slightly better than us, but as compared to where it was supposed to be, it's really, there was some sort of a decline when it comes to economic empowerment, you know, and so many other. Look at this young country, South Sudan, you know, issues and all that aspects. You know, political unrest really, it might seem okay at the moment when you as a leader, you don't really mind, but you see, it's more of digging a grave for yourself, because at the end of the day, you'll have to try to cover up this whole repercussion, and it's going to really all coming back to you, and chances are high that once you fail, once the economy gets out of your hand due to your cause, of course the masses are going to turn against you.
Yeah, sure thing. And of course, as governments continue to create a more safer business environment, which includes creating peace and safety plus security for the business community, it is what the government of Uganda does so well. And that is why you see that even in our budget priorities, defense and security is always prioritized. But of course, you as an individual can as well invest and grow your financial capabilities, as well as your financial security increases by investing in government bonds and securities, which includes investing in the Zabo platform. Star 292 # is the USSD code that you need to use to kickstart off your investment journey. So do that today and be part of the ever-evolving investment world. And remember, the markets open at 8:15 a.m. and closing time is 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Note that they are only fully closed during the weekends and on public holidays. Zabo, my money, my future. All Tech East Africa, do something new. After the break, we are returning with the sports business and entertainment business. Stick around. Good morning.